Sorry, there's another group that is not on. Okay, there we go. All right, good evening and welcome to our CompTIA A plus class, right? So we are on lesson 6 and we are focusing on installation of operating system and troubleshooting them. I got a couple of demos that I will run, but the main focus is on us trying to understand the installation and the troubleshooting of operating systems so that we can be able to answer those questions that we're going to see on CompTIA A plus. Not only answer the questions, but also like general, if you want to install an operating system, what to expect, what will you need for you to be able to install an operating system on your machine. So that's what we want to look at now. All right, so there is one demo that I want to run that I think I rushed it when we were finishing our last class, which was Thursday last week. So I just want to quickly look at that demo. So the demo is on CompTIA. You will see it on your CompTIA A plus when you're taking the exam. They call it, they gave it a name. They call it the, what's the name? Let me just pull that. They gave it a name. They call it the reducing effect of malware. So they're looking at the ways that you as a technician, because these days we're big in cybersecurity, right? So we're looking at ways of you can implement to kind of like reduce effects of malware on your Windows 10 or on the network that you're going to be supporting. What methods, what things can you do for you to kind of like reduce the effect of malware? Because when it comes to cybersecurity, what we are all about, we're creating like different layers of security so that if the intruder, if the hacker bypasses one layer, there's going to be another layer waiting for them so that we can be able to protect our systems, right? So we want to look at that demo. I did touch a bit on it when we were wrapping up our last week Thursday, but I felt like it was a bit rushed, which is like I know it's very important when it comes to CompTIA A plus, but it was a bit rushed. So I just want us to look at that again. Just make sure that your virtual machine or virtual environment is open now so that we can be able to go through that demo. Just make sure that your Windows 10 is open. So what we want to focus on is reducing the effects of malware on a Windows 10 machine, which is you're going to be supporting that. So what we're doing on Windows 10 is quite similar to what you're going to be doing on your Windows 11. So it's the same principle, it's the same methods to protect your Windows 10 or your Windows 11 machine. So number one point that they will always ask about when it comes to protecting your machines, right? The number one point on protecting your network, number one point is that it's user awareness training. As a technician or as an administrator, one of the things that we have to look at is how to train our users, right? Like making sure that the user are aware of the different tricks, of the different methods that the hackers can use to gain access to our network. So that's number one. Every time when they ask you any question that is to do with cybersecurity, and then there's that answer as an option, usually that's the preferred answer because that's number one point of entry in a network. The point of entry in a network would be the users. So the weakest point are the users. So that's what we want to look at now. How can we kind of like reduce the effects of malware? We're saying number one is user awareness training. How can you reduce the impact or just the close gaps within your operating system? We're saying now is number one is user awareness training. Number two, let's look at backups. How can you create a backup on a Windows 10 machine? So we want to go through the start option. I'm assuming that everyone has their Windows 10 open. You can use your host operating system or you can use your guest operating system. But I'm on Windows 10. I'll be running this on Windows 10.
Ask my phone.
Go ask mommy for your phone, please. All right, so what I want to do is we want to start with the backup, right? Why are we conducting a backup? Why would we want to have some backups on your system? We have different attacks called like a ransomware attack, right? Like you can have someone gaining access to your system and then they hold your data hostage, whereby they just want you to pay for that particular data. So if you get hacked, while you have a backup, what you would be worried about if you get hacked when someone gain access, unauthorized access to your data, if you have a backup, what you're worried about is not your actual data. You are worried about the confidentiality of that someone else has gained access to your data. So let's create let's look at where or how you can create a backup. on your Windows 10 machine. So I want to go through the settings option. So you can type in here on search settings, or you can right click this option here. You can right click the start menu there. So you can right click the start menu. And then after that, I want to go to settings. I want to go to settings. I want to go to say, so right click there, the start. And then what you want to go do is you want to go to settings, right click there, settings. All right. So when I'm on settings, the part that I want to go to for me to be able to kind of like set up this backup, I want to go to update and security, update and security. So kind of like I want to go to update and security to kind of like update my system or just to back up my system, have a backup location where I can back up my system and access my backup files. All right, click on update and security. All right, so I'm on update and security, and then you can see the, if I'm assuming that we are all using Windows 10. We are all using Windows 10. So there on files and backup, can you see where it says files backup? You can backup files to OneDrive. So Microsoft gives us that option. Once I sign in, all of my data can be backed up into OneDrive so that if I lose or something happened to my PC, I do have a copy of my data on OneDrive. Or I can use like an external drive. If I click here, if Microsoft will go through the process of detecting the drive that I have on my computer. So if you have any drive that is plugged in, it should be able to pick up that. Then I can do some backups directly to that. Right, so we're saying number one is your cloud. You have access to signing into your OneDrive account where you can easily back up that. So we're saying now, what's the reason for you to conduct that backup? Why will you want to do a backup? You always need your backup just in case it's like for ransomware attacks, or in case it's for like when your data, like let's say something happens to your PC and then your stuff is not on OneDrive, then that stuff will be, your work will be gone. But if you do have like it on OneDrive, then you should be able to gain access to that, or you should be able to gain your data after that. And then if it's on external hard drive, which is another method of you gaining or storing that information. So we can use OneDrive, we can use a drive where you have an external drive, then you can back up that data. So that's number one. That's number two, another method of kind of backing up or kind of, reducing the effect of malware. If the system is corrupted, while I have my backup on the side, I'm not really worried about my data because I do have a copy of the same exact data that I have on this PC. So I can just pull up my backup. I can wipe out this entire PC, do a clean installation, and then just bring back my data because I have a backup somewhere. So the backup is very important, not only for individual PC or for end user PC, just also as an organization, we need these backups. These days, most of our work is saved on cloud. So you find that if something happens to our PC, then we can easily access that data on the cloud platform or an external hard drive. All right, so that's number one. That's number two there, conducting backups. You need to know where to go to for you to be able to conduct a backup. We said it can go to OneDrive, or it can go to your external drive that you can have here, like your external hard drive or a drive that you can copy that to. All right. And then number two, I just clicked back there. So coming back to this part, when I look at another way of reducing the effect of malware on your PC. So the first one was conducting the backups. So now I want to click here where you say, again, I want to click on update and security. I want to click on update and security. Click there on update and security. And then on update and security, what I want to do now is I want to do the updates. Can you see, you can click there on Windows Update. So the other way of reducing the effect of malware on your PC, you just want to do these constant updates that Microsoft will release. So you want to update your system. You want to make sure that it's up to date with all the updates that Microsoft releases. And then this machine now is on a virtual environment. I really don't need to update this, but if you're working on your host operating system, you just need to be able to make sure that you check for recent updates and make sure that the updates that are out, you install those. So you need to make sure that you have those updates running on your PC. So usually this is, you can automate this to say, okay, it can run, currently it's set to run at 8 till to 1700. So you can set up a time frame where this can be able to run, right? So this is your Windows update. You want to make sure that you get all the updates, you update your system. So what are the updates for? An update can be a new feature that is available for us, or sometimes you get also the patches. The patches are where Microsoft or like other hackers that have been maybe doing like the bounty hacking, they found a vulnerability on a system. So Microsoft will release a patch for that vulnerability on Windows 10 or for Windows 11. So you need to make sure that every time you update your system. That's why when we're talking about a system that is out of date or the system that is no longer supported by Microsoft, that system, Microsoft won't be releasing any patches, any updates for that operating system. For example, Windows 10 is coming to an end, right? End of life, is reaching end of life. I think is it October then. So that means after that, Microsoft won't be supporting it, won't be releasing any updates and patches for it. So you are on your own if you're running that. That's why on companies, we have to kind of like switch from Windows 10 to 11, the one that is currently supported by Microsoft. But on a personal PC, you need to make sure that this is automated. If there's any new update, it can install, you can be able to install that particular update. All right, one more thing that I want to show you while we're still on this page when discussing the updates. Sometimes there are updates that you do, they kind of like mess up your system, or now your system start to behave in a certain way, like it's corrupt or something like that. You might want to roll back maybe to a previous or uninstall that update. So check here. If let's say you updated your system and then something's wrong with your PC, or you can't find certain things, or your system is corrupt, you can roll back the updates. Can you see where it says view update history? Where it says view update history, we can click there where it says view update history. All right, so you can see all of the recent updates. So the update history, all of the stuff that I've recently updated. So usually a virtual machine, when we have a virtual machine, I don't really like to update that. Like I don't want it to keep on changing my stuff, my environment, whatever. I don't update anything that's on a VM. I like it the way I downloaded it. I don't want to change anything. All right. So here, these are the updates that have recently happened on this PC. All right. Check here at the top. Can you see where it says uninstall updates? In case there's any update that has been installed on your PC, and then you just want to quickly roll back to, you just want to remove that, want to uninstall that, you can click on uninstall updates. So it will show you all the recent updates here. You can see it says security updates. So these were the updates that were recently installed. It will show you the date, when was this installed. You can see. So if I want to roll back, let's say I want to remove any of these, I can select it, and then you can see where it says uninstall that particular update. So you can do that, uninstall any specific update that is running on your PC. All right. And then why we want to do that? There are some times where you load something and then maybe let's say there are other applications that you have developed yourself, they're running there. Whatever new thing that you have updated, maybe it messes up your application that is running there. So you just want to roll back the system how it was before the update. You can uninstall, you can remove that update that you have if it's messing up your system or something. All right. So those are the other things that are very important when it comes to adding layers or kind of like reducing effects of malware on your PC. So we have looked at this. Let me go back. So we have looked at the importance of updating your system. CompTIA requires you to know how to do that. And then here's another important thing for some that maybe you're still running Windows 10 as as a host operating system. Can you see there's this option that says get ready for Windows 11 to see if your PC can run Windows 11. You can check your hardware requirements here. There are a few requirements so if you click on check hardware requirements, it will go through the process of checking your hardware of your system to see if it is fit to run Windows 11. Especially like your old PCs, you know, like those old computers, some of them are not able to run the Windows 11. So this is one of the features that can make it easy for you to determine if your system is compatible with Windows 11. Right, so here on updates, we have seen that we can download and install any current update. You can see there's this one that needs to be installed. And then we said we can also check the update history. And then we said on update history, we can see the recently installed application, sorry, the recently installed updates. And then we said we can remove or uninstall any the update. And then there is the other important thing that some of you might want to do maybe on your personal PC, where you want to check if is it compatible? Is it compatible with Windows 11? You can run that. On my side, I also installed this. I install PC Health Check. It can also check for you if it is really compatible with this. But the best platform, just click on that option. If you see it on your Windows machine, then it will be able to check that for you. All right, so we looked at this part here. Let me get my writing pen. Let me get my drawing pen. So we looked at this part here where you can create the backups, where you can back up your data to OneDrive or to an external hard drive. And then we're looking at this one now, which is Windows Update. We're focusing on that you can click on this to manually check for updates, or you can see the available updates here. And then if you want to install this, you can install that. But on a virtual environment, for me, the updates, I don't really run the updates. I run updates on my host operating system. All right. And then we said we have this part here, which is, it will allow you to check if your hardware is compatible for a Windows 11 upgrade, right? Because you don't want to use the older Windows 10 whilst we have 11 and then 10 is no longer supported. Okay, and then we looked at this part here. We said on this part, we check all the update history. And then if you want to uninstall any of the updates that is causing maybe your system to malfunction or your system is corrupt, then you can uninstall that. Okay, I want to add more to that. On this tab here, we are still on reducing effects of malware. On this tab here, can you see where it says Windows Security? Can you see where it says Windows Security? So on Windows Security, you want to make sure that you have what you call the live real-time malware check, like an anti-malware that checks your system for any malwares at constant time, like all the time. It needs to be checking all the time. We call it the real-time check, right? So you need to check if it's on, so that you know that, okay, every time there is an anti-malware that is checking for spyware, for any malware. So you need to make sure. And then how do you make sure that the live or the real-time is on? You go to Virus Threat and Protection. So you just want to check if the real-time protection is on. You need to make sure that you have the real-time protection. You click on Virus and Threat Protection. You click on Virus Threat and Protection. Okay, and then on this part here, can you see current threats? It shows you, okay, if it picked up any current threats, it says no current threats detected. Last scan was on this. It did a quick scan and then scan options. But the one that I'm looking for is this part that says manage settings. I want to check if the real-time protection is on, which is the one that constantly detects all these malwares, constantly checks for these malwares, constantly scan for any malware or any spyware within your system. So I want to click on Manage Settings. I want to click on Manage Settings. Can you see the one that was talking about the real-time protection? So it always needs to be on. So it locates stop malware from installing or running on your device. You can turn off this setting for a short time before it turns back on automatically. So this one is real-time protection. It constantly checks on your PC if there's any malware within your PC. All right. So it's very important. You need that to be always on. Sometimes it can be off. There are some malware that, end up deactivating certain things within your PC. But like this one, I think by default on Windows 11 is on. On Windows 10, I think you can switch. You need to switch it on, if I'm not mistaken. But it's one of those that you need for just constant protection on your PC. Let me just check, guys. On your side, was it on your side, this one, or it was off? You had to switch it on.
It's always on.
It's always on. All right. So this is the real-time protection on your side. So it makes sure that any malware running on your system, it detects that. So within the network infrastructure, we have what you call IPS, intrusion prevention systems, IDS, your firewalls. So we have different. So as I said, I spoke about the layers. You have different layers that you need on your network. So this is a layer of security within the end device. Okay, so we have that one there, which is on there, all right? And then check here at the bottom, virus and threat protection settings. Okay, here I'm done with that. That's the most important part that I wanted to share. Let me go to home of that. So the other things, check here, go to home there, and check here and see if there are ticks on certain parts here, because sometimes there might be like a yellow exclamation mark on certain parts of these where is showing you that, okay, there's an action that you need to take to make sure that this one is checked. Can you see here is advising me to sign in with Microsoft account for enhanced security and other benefits. So it's just like it's an advice for me to, okay, you can get better security if you are signed in. All right, on your side, which one is off there? I'm not sure who answered. Are they all ticked? Are they all checked? Do they have the green? I know some of them, they might be off there. Remo? Let me just see. Oh, I need to unmute. No, but no, I don't have to unmute on this meeting. You can. All right, Ramos just gave a thumbs up on that. All right, so there are some way, for example, if I correct this, the reason why you see an exclamation mark, it will be showing you, okay, there's a layer or there's an action that you can take for it, for Microsoft or for this Windows 10 to put a tick on that to say, okay, you have added like a firewall and network protection layer. There's a tick. App and browser control, it gives you a tick. You see, so if I correct this, it will tick that for me. Virus and threat protection, set up OneDrive for file recovery. So you saw that side, I didn't set up my OneDrive for recovery options. So if I set up that, if I click here and then set it up, then I'll get a tick. So device performance and health. So here it will be showing you what needs to be done. What is it? What's the state? What's the health of your PC where you at, right? Okay, so here we're focusing on reducing effects of malware. All right, I think we are done on this side with the major things that I wanted to highlight for your A+. Let me go back a bit. One more thing that you want to, I want to highlight when it comes to this is the, what you call, let me close this. I want to go back to settings page. So one more thing that you want to do is within a network, what we usually do is we make sure that the users within our network, they're not able to install applications. So we control, as an administrator, we control what these users can install this application or not. And then we have on the enterprise center part, we have what we call the app blocker. We can also apply an app blocker on our devices just to control which applications can be installed. We can do what we call the whitelist and the blacklisting. So when we are whitelisting applications, we're defining which applications can be run on our PC. So we can do a whitelist. And then a blacklist, what we're doing is we are blocking application to say, okay, this application, that application is supposed to be blocked on our PC or on our network, right? So the one that I always go for is the whitelisting, because if I blacklist, I'm only blacklisting applications that I know. For example, let's say these sites, the torrent sites where people visit to download stuff and then get these nasty things, or these just, like those sites that we don't really trust when dealing with enterprise. So if I do a blacklist, I'm only blacklisting the ones that I know. But what I prefer is to just put it on a whitelist. Whitelist is these are the applications that I'm allowing in my network. So if you try to go to any site that I didn't allow, then you are not. Good. I can't hear myself, man. Please. All right. So now on this PC, what can we do for us to be able to block certain things? For example, when someone plugs in a USB on your PC, what action do you want to do? What action do you want your operating system to take after someone plugged in your PC? Do you want your operating system to read the contents of that USB automatically, or what do you want to do, right? So let's click on devices there. I want to show you an option that we can use to control. It's called autoplay. Click on devices there. So on devices tab, can you see the option that says autoplay there? Click on autoplay. So I was on settings and then I clicked on, what did I click on? Devices, right? I was on settings here and then I clicked on devices. Then I want to check out these. Can you see where it says autoplay? So it says removable drives. So what you want this system to do, for some, sometimes it's on default. For some, mine is on take no action. I think I did some changes there. On your side, what is it on? Is it on default or is it on take no action? Because sometimes it will say default and sometimes say take no action.
Mine default.
It's on default, right? So yeah, it does that sometimes by default. So we can change this removable drive. So what do you want the PC to do when someone plugs in something on your PC? Let's click the drop down arrow and check out the options. You say open folder to view files, ask me every time, configure storage settings. What do you want to do? I want to say take no action, right? Take no action on that. So I don't want this thing to run automatically on my system. So that's the autoplay there. So you can change that option. All right, so we're looking at the reducing effect of malware on a Windows 10 machine, on a Windows 11 machine. What are the basic, simple things that you can do to reduce the impact of this? One more thing that I'm left with on my sleeve for this demo is this option. Let me check it out. Where is that? Okay, I'm done with this. Notify me if there's any issues connected to USB. Okay, really? Okay, the autoplay is the one that I wanted there. Okay, I wanna go out of this. I wanna exit this. I can close it there. All right. So all this information we found it here on settings, and we were mostly on one part there. We were mostly on this part, updating security, and then we just checked out one here on devices. So most of the stuff that we looked at were on update and security part there of settings tab. Now I want us to go to just still on the part of reducing effects of malware. Let's go to this part here. So I right click the start menu there, and then I want to go to, is it computer management? Click on computer management there. So I want to check out the local user and groups to make sure that admin account is disabled, it's not running there. So I want to go to local user account and see if, like, yeah, for example, things like your administrator account, you might want, on Linux, when we are running a Linux machine, we usually run it as a standard user. And then when you have when you need to do any administrative task, then it prompts you for you to do a sudo. So here, the local or the default admin account, it should be deactivated. I think I deactivated it, or by default is deactivated there. Let's check there. Click on local user and groups. Click on local user and groups there. So we want to click here where it says local users and groups, and then see what is the default administrator account looking like. No, escape. And then expand there where it says local user and group, expand that. All right, check on users. All right, you can see here on my administrator account is deactivated, it's not running there. I have, how do I know that? You can see that drop down arrow. So the administrator, default administrator built-in account for administrators is disabled there, it's not activated. And then you can see my account there. I have my account, and then I have other accounts here that are active, but these other accounts, default accounts, they are disabled. So you might want to disable, but by default, if you're not working on it, it should be disabled. Why am I disabling these accounts that I'm not using, especially administrator account? Is because I don't want to have like an account that is administrator permissions that is running on my PC whilst I'm not using it. So there is a term that we use in cybersecurity for what you call it, when just like, cleaning up these unnecessary things on our PC. I forgot the term, man. But yeah, like stuff or cleaning up ports and stuff that you don't need, you can see you deactivate. That's the account that I'm using here, which is cleaned. This is active. All these are other accounts. I created these accounts when I was testing this, so I don't need them anymore. So just to also create a layer of security, anything, any account that is we don't need in our network, you need to remove that, deactivate that, get rid of that, and then only be left with accounts that you need. We'll move to cybersecurity part where we'll talk about even the ports that are not necessary, that are not supposed to be running on your PC. You need to deactivate those. So currently here, what we're looking at is the accounts that are not used by anyone on my PC that are currently running. I don't need those, but default administrator account is deactivated, it's not running. So that's another way of kind of like, creating layer of security within your PC. All right. One more thing that we need is here on Event Viewer. Let's check out on Event Viewer. I know we have checked this one out before. Click on Event Viewer there. So here we say the Event Viewer keep logs of all the events, right? So you can check the security, those messages. What are the application errors are you getting? What are the system errors are you getting? So, and sometimes you can even see applications that are maybe overutilizing certain parts of your system. So you can see that and then be able to delete any application or any activity that you deem to say, okay, this is a red flag. I don't need this on my system. So the event viewer, it can show you any different activities there. All right, I see a hand there. You can go ahead.
Yeah, no, Mr. Moyo. You know, when it comes to event viewer and reading these errors and stuff, I usually find myself struggling.
Oh, yeah.
I struggle to understand I struggle to understand these errors. Like,
Oh,
is it possible for you to maybe do like a practical example of like maybe a certain error where you are explaining what it means? Because in most cases, I usually find myself not understanding what it means.
or you mean like the error messages that you are getting from these? Let's say you pick up any, let's say there is a system error. And then, for example, okay, let's look, there are warning messages. If I click on that, yeah. So if you don't understand this is easy because you can pick up the event, not the event ID, the error number, and then you can check online using that error number. So this machine default. So there is any error number that you get, it will have like an explanation online. What is it all about? Because this is what we use to check, okay, what is this error all about? Let's say details. All right. You can get these error numbers where it should be on general there. It keeps the error ID number.
On details. I think it's on details.
It's on details somewhere where you can get the details number. Activation, local and available, local PC.
Oh, maybe it's because you are on a virtual environment.
Yeah, but like the error, yeah. So let me check on this error. Let's see. It says, okay, it's a system error.
Yeah, that's why you're not getting the error ID.
Oh yeah, because yeah, the error ID, that's the one that you will use to check online. Okay, here, there it is. There it is. There it is.
Oh
there,
yeah.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. So I will just grab this. If I need detailed information about this error, then I'll grab this and then paste it online. Then you'll be able to find, okay, maybe someone experienced the same error online. And then you find that, especially on the Microsoft community, you check on the Microsoft community, there are so many other administrators that face the similar error, and then they posted that error online, and then there would be explanation, and then also other people contribute to that error to say, okay, this is what I did on my side to be able to resolve that particular query. So if this side, there's no detailed information about the error, we just copy it, and then I paste it that side online, then I will be able to get solutions on that side.
Yes. Okay, let's not, maybe let's shy away from the error scenario. Maybe let's come with a different one. Yeah. Let's say maybe it's a agree when they define event viewer, they say you can check who did what, where, and how on your PC, right?
Yeah.
So maybe if we can check something like that.
All right. So who did?
Yeah, maybe show me who did what on your PC when.
All right, so on that part, like that's the audit, security, and then audit success. So this is the part where, like, it can show you, okay, at this time, the user logged in at a particular time. Let's say log one was successful. This one is a success, and then what time was it? So it can give you detailed information, keywords, audit success, logged. You can see the time, when did I log into the system, and then event ID information, and then user. You can see here is not showing me the user that currently logged in on that part on that time. But this is where you want to find anything that is to do with the audit or the user's information. This is where you go to on this tab, the security one. As I said last time, that some of these tabs, this one is for system, anything that has to do maybe with operating system and other programs that are running, then maybe you'll find them here. And then application errors, this is where you find them. And then audit, people doing something on your PC or logging in at a specific time. This is where you go to. This is where you get all that detailed information about the specific audit in a specific time. This event is generated when blah, blah, someone logged in, the most common one, types 3 networks. All right, I'm not sure that if it answers your questions there. All right, there is another hand there. Is it MZ there? You can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Tutus. There's another question. You come across a laptop, right?
Yeah.
That laptop, let's say like you bought it somewhere or like you got it somewhere. Typical example. So you do format and then you get the usernames and stuff. Like, will you get the same information that you are describing right now? Or, okay, here's my question. Sorry about that. Before I format the USB, I know some commands where I can reset the password, right? I reset the password, and then after resetting the password, and then I do log in. Does that affect in the I've logged in like using those commands? Will that detect in a certain company? I've logged in using the same commands to reset the password, and then something like that. Yeah.
I get you what you're saying. So you're saying will it be able to track that action or that event that you logged in on that PC? Definitely this.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. If you log into this PC, you successfully log in with whatever method that you use, every event will be logged in on this part. And then taking it higher on a network level, right? Not only on this PC level, we can also pick up on other parts. Let's say this. Most companies, they use what you call Intune. We use Intune and then other products that we can collect these activities. For example, what Remo is asking for, if you want detailed information about what's really happening on my PC, who deleted what file, who did what file, I can also plug in this to have it on a central device. Let's say you are managing 100 devices, and then Muzi goes to one device, and then he does this where he cracks the password and goes in. That activity will be recorded on the local PC that you did that. And then because there's an agent here on this PC, also on our central PC, we are going on a central server or machine, we'll be able to get that information that, okay, you did 1, 2, 3 on my PC.
So a PC doesn't have a manage engine. I work a lot on manage engine, right? A PC doesn't have a manage engine. A PC only connects to like the main server, right? I've built the server and then I've connected, let's say 5 PC on that server, right? And then the user forgets the password. And then I go into that user and then I use my method. It's obvious. I'll have to use a Windows. Troubleshooting and then go to that, what's that, CMD, and then I create those commands and then I change the password. After changing those password and then I log in. Will that record reflect in that information that you're telling me right now?
You're saying now on the local PC, or you're saying now will manage engine be able to collect that?
Let's forget about manage engine. I work a lot about manage engine. Let's forget about manage engine. I have a server, right? I built
Yeah.
a server, and then from that server, I connected 3 machines or 5 machines on that server. One user forgot the username or the password or something, right? And
Yeah.
then I log in. Let's say the user is home. I know I can change the password from the server, but let's say the user is home, right? And then
Yeah.
let's say it's stolen, or maybe she took the PC somewhere, something like that. You know how it works. I'm sure you know how it works. You
Yeah,
know
like
how
in a
trying to
company
forget.
whereby someone, they decide to own the PC that is owned by a company, and then they just want to wipe out everything, and then it belongs
Yeah.
to them
So
at the
let
end.
me use those commands. I'm using those commands, and then I change the password. After changing the password, and then the user can log in. After the user logging in, from what I'm seeing right now, will
Yeah.
I be able to see those logs
On the local PC, right?
on
You're
the
asking?
local PC? Yes.
Yeah, I should be able, like that event should be at least recorded there.
Okay,
That
100%. Yeah.
this person managed to log into this PC.
Which means it's not safe, like Uguti Uchonche EPC, and
Oh,
then they log
I see.
in.
I see where you're going with this. I see where you're going with this. I see where you're going with this. Yeah, it's like but for some, I've seen people where, man, we have been in the IT for quite some time. Like I'm not condoning or getting into that part. There are parts whereby you get like a PC. Let's say for some of them, they do have these controls within the PC whereby even when you try to wipe out the PC, we try to control those. Okay, you can't wipe out the PC, you can't do all these things. But at the end, we are IT people. We do wipe out the PCs, and then it becomes brand new. And then some of the things, they're not detected at the end. They're not some of the things like that. Like once we manage to wipe it out, make it brand new, then we good to go. So some of the activity like can be recorded on the actual PC, maybe not being sent to our server there to record that. Hey,
Yeah.
so and
That's my
so.
actual question. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my actual question, Guti. Are you able to catch up on those?
For some, like once it's gone, like the PC can be gone, like it can be gone like that. Yeah, once they just do changes that, because there's some of the errors will be recorded now on their PC, on that PC, and then they're not coming to your server to pick up the location. Okay, where is this? But Muzi, to advance or to talk more on that, let me show you something, because we do have so many layers in our companies, right? So you have so many layers. If Muzi bypass layer number one, what's my other layer to control that? Let me just do this. So but once you wipe out my operating system, that means all my application, my agent, most of the system, they are running or using the agents. But once you wipe out, they just know that it becomes difficult for me to access that.
That's what I'm saying.
do
That's where
you have this
BitLocker is
Microsoft?
important, Amish.
Yeah. So the BitLocker will just like encrypt the entire drive just to make sure that, hey, when you're trying to use my drive, you need my password again to be able to get into that. Or if you don't have that, it will render my thinking. It will render it useless to you.
Actually, it will need the BitLocker key, unless if you replace hard drive and then you hard drive enter, you'll still use the device.
100%. So okay, I just wanted to bring in. Let me not bring in that. I wanted to bring in one of the environment that we use to monitor even the devices, your location, where your device is. We can pick up that location and all of that. So yeah, there are so many layers that if Muzi bypasses layer number one, what's our layer number two? If he bypasses that, let's say maybe he wants to bypass that, the BitLocker is there, he can't use the drive. It's either he throws that thing away, the drive away, and then he gets another drive, or you find other methods to do that. But yeah, we will apply different layers on our network just to make sure that you don't easily lose these devices. All right. All right. Where is that? Where was I? Yeah. So I think one of the demos that I'm going to do is on the Cisco network or packet tracer, how to monitor these devices. how to monitor the health of these devices, how to collect information from these devices. There's one lab under Cisco that we can use to kind of like collect. As I said last time, that when we are collecting this information from these devices, sometimes you don't want to overload your server with unnecessary information. You specify what is it that is important to you, especially if it's not a critical system. A critical system, we're talking about systems like servers, that if a server is down, it affects everyone within your network. But sometimes you can call a system critical because maybe it's used by a CEO or it's used by someone that really needs to be always working. So here we can collect, we can specify what you are collecting. Information, you don't want unnecessary information going to the server for all the 100 devices. You can say, I want error. What's the other one? It's critical, right? We do have criticals. So you specify what you want to collect from that device. Yes, it's doable. All right, coming back to, I think that was the first demo that I wanted to run. You will see this on the comptia A+, where they will give you a scenario and then say, okay, how can you protect your Windows 10, Windows 11? What layers or what security measures can you do, or how do you do a backup on that system? Like the basic things that we're looking at now, they might ask you those basic things. Where is that? Any questions? Any more questions on the demo part before I come back this side? All right, I think the demo is clear. Remo, were you answered there? Are you good with the monitoring of the activities?
Yeah, I think I'm fine.
That's not convincing there. All right, I'll look for a proper demo for you the one that we can use to collect.
Yeah. That will be highly appreciated.
One of the other companies that we are monitoring, just let me see if I can get that, where you can see the location of the devices, who did what, who deleted what.
Yeah, that's what I want to see.
Let me see if I can pull up that. Oh, shucks. Let me just get this thing away from that side, and then I'll log in and bring it back there. All right. I just want to see if I do have more services there. Let's say. Security. Right, I just want to quickly log into one of the platforms here that monitors the activity within the network, just to see the location of the people who deleted what, who did what in a network. Let me see if I can log in. Yeah, this one is a live environment. Now, how will I hide some of the things here? More services. Okay, security. Let's see. This site on Microsoft, let's see. The one that monitors the cloud environment. Hey, no, it's not. All right, I can see it, but the problem is that it's showing me, I can't hide certain things here. But I can't hide that. All right, this is okay. I can't do that. Like it is, it shows like the actual live environment where like there are certain people that deleted things, certain people that accessed certain files here on the cloud environment, but it has people's names, it is IP addresses, and then all of that. All right, it's just that it's on recording. I can't bring it the screen this side. I'll find a way to run it, to run like something like that, just to on a virtual environment, not an actual environment, because I don't want to get in trouble with this company now when they're coming back to me. How can I hide that? Okay, I can't hide. Unless if I record and then lay out names and IP addresses and then that message. All right. Okay. So that's the part that I wanted to show you, but I can't share my screen on that. All right. Coming back to this side, I think we have done. I think OB went through the operating systems, right? The different types of operating systems, and then the installation part, how we can install this. I want to focus on the networking part now. I want to focus on the networking part. Let me see that slide. Let's see. Or just maybe to brush through this first. Just to brush through this. Just to brush through this. So, so far we have done the practical of this, like the installation of an operating system. I'm assuming that everyone managed to install the Windows 10 on their virtual environment. Did we manage to do that? Anyone who didn't manage to do that, by a thumbs up? Show by a thumbs up. All right, we did that. So we do have different types of installations, right? We have your clean install or in-place upgrade. So we have done the practical of which we were doing the clean installation. So your clean installation usually would be, it just means that you may be installing an OS on a new computer, or maybe we are completely replacing the OS software that was there or the old one that was there on your PC. So that is the clean installation. And then you just want to do an in-place upgrade. An in-place upgrade, that's where you can be going from that current version that you are on, maybe from your Windows 10, and then you want to move to Windows 11. So it means that you are running from an existing version of OS to a newer one, right? Which is maybe the latest one at that time. So you can't really skip, let's say, from your 7 to 11. We need to do in-place upgrade. In-place upgrade, what it does also is that it allows you to keep your third-party applications, your user settings, and then data files that were there for that particular user. You can keep all of those available, or all of the existing settings, all of the third-party applications that you have installed. So the clean, it will be just a clean one. We're starting afresh, or we're just like, removing the older one, or it's our first time doing this. So those are the basic things that you just need to know about this. And then upgrade considerations. We have seen this. I showed you that side when we're dealing with the updates, right? That we can do an upgrade from your Windows 10 to Windows 11. But Windows 10, it allows us to check the hardware compatibility before we load your Windows 11. So we saw that you might have a problem when you are trying to install Windows 11 on other machines, like an older machine. Usually it will reject it based on certain things that it requires. If they're not there, then it will reject that installation. So we saw the hardware compatibility. It can have a huge impact on your installation, that your hardware, it can't install that particular operating system. All right. And then we have the unattended installation. So on our side, we did the attended installation. So we did the attended installation. It just means that we had to go through those questions that Microsoft was asking us. I saw someone sent a short video about asking, okay, which version of operating system are they supposed to install on their side? There were options when you were installing Windows 10 where it gave you options. What options did we get them when we're installing Windows 10 in terms of edition? What editions did we get?
We have Windows Pro, we have Home Edition, we have Enterprise, And then, if I'm not mistaken, Enterprise and Pro, they are mostly used by business enterprises. And then Home Edition is basically for home use. So you can't edit to a domain use. So when it comes to a Pro name Enterprise, you can edit like on your web profile, like you can edit to a domain. But if you install a Home Edition, there's no option for you to edit on the domain.
100%. So CompTIA will ask you that you will see like a snippet of something, maybe a question saying this person is not able to add this specific PC on a domain. What might be the problem for that? Why the person can't add this one to a domain, right? He has explained. Thank you, Muzi, for adding that or taking us also back to that part. It's very important to note, okay, what are the features that are there on these different editions, right? So we have those editions. When you were installing Windows 10, you were asked for what option do you want? We had like those options. And then for some of you, maybe you didn't choose, you just went with the one that was selected there. But yeah, you do have those options to choose. And then you have those limitations whereby some will not have or domain joining options, some will not have BitLocker options, some will like the features that you need in an enterprise. I'm not sure if now, do we still have Ultimate? I know like your Windows 7, we used to have like your Enterprise, your Ultimate. Do we have Enterprise Ultimate on your Windows 11? I don't think it is it Enterprise. So we used to have like your Ultimate Enterprise, it was Pro, Ultimate Enterprise, so that you know that those are the ones that you use for your corporate environment. All right. Now, I want us to move to the next slide, boot methods. So we do have these, and then I shared a practical environment for you to check out this. I shared the link for where you can go to for checking the BIOS. Let me just share the link again. So the slide here is showing us the boot methods. What boot methods do we have? You can boot from an optical media. So some of the devices that you get now, there's no option for that, optical media. You boot from a USB, meaning boot from a USB, it means that you have your operating system on a USB, then you are booting from that. And then optical media, that was your CD, DVD drives. And then we have like the Pixel, which is your on the network side, you just push everything to the network, and then it will be, that's where you do your unattended installation, all the answer files for those questions that you're going to be asked to say, okay, what do you want to do, clean installation, what is it, what are you doing, all those questions that you answered when you're installing Windows 10. On a network environment, you will be asked those questions, and then you can be able to answer, you have that answer file that answers all those questions for you. All right, and then now looking at the image that we have here, we have main, security, advanced, UEFI drivers. So let's check it out on a, I do have the, what do you call the demos, not the demos, but the virtual environment for a BIOS. So this is the link, and then you can find this document in the shared, let me just say Control C on that. Let me just grab this. I want to go through that lab just for you to see what options we do have that side. All right, I want to go through the BIOS part. Okay, so I chose the Lenovo, but on that slide, on that document, you can access different vendors' BIOS option. All right, so we have this description, Lenovo BIOS simulator. So we have the Lenovo BIOS simulator. Then you can click here on this link. You can click on the link, and then it allows you to choose what type of system you are looking at. I can go with the laptops there just to see what we have on the laptops. And then you can choose whatever, which one are you using or which one you prefer. We have this. Let me go with the first one. And then go with the first one then. And then we have the first one, graphic interface mode, a menu-based interface with icons and buttons. And then we have the text mode. So we have what we call the legacy BIOS, where you can only use your keyboard, to navigate using your keyboard. And then we have like the UEFI, where it allows you to use your mouse, keyboard, you can navigate nicely on there. So all the newer laptops will come in with the UEFI. And then some, they still have two options where you can switch back to legacy BIOS. And then some, they do have those options. But going forward, you find that maybe they will wipe out on those slides. If you just want to practice these, you don't want to mess up your operating system, right? You don't want to mess up. So this is a platform where you can go just to check out how does the BIOS look like. And then what keys do we use to get to this site? What keys will allow us to get to this site, to the BIOS menu?
Evening, normally it's F12 or F11.
All right.
Depending on
so
the type.
100%, depending on the vendor.
Yeah. Others requires you to.
So we find it's F2, F11, F12. If you're not sure, exactly in IT, here's the thing in IT, there's so much stuff that we do, we don't remember all these things. If you forget, you can just go online and be like, okay, what is the BIOS key for my Lenovo machine? You'll find it online. But yeah, the BIOS option, you find it in, you can go to the BIOS different keys depending on the vendor. There was someone wanted to contribute something there, and then I think I spoke on top of them. There was someone wanted to add. All right. Okay, so this is the menu, the main part where you will see like your UEFI BIOS version. You can see for this particular ThinkPad machine, there is the version, and then you can see the date, all of that information, CPU type. You can see, okay, currently this is a what you call a simulator, right? It might not, it's not giving me the entire information about that. And then it's just giving me installed memory. There it says, okay, you got this number of memory, the MAC address of the device, and then pre-installed OS license, UEFI secure boot is on for securing, like when you're booting viruses and all of that. And then config part, we can also, one of the things that we do here is, if I'm missing out something that we do on the BIOS side, you please feel free to add that. So you can also deactivate the USB usage on the PC. If you go to companies that are really big in security, these USB slots will be disabled on their PC. There are many platforms or parts where you can go and disable the USB. One of these, you can even disable the USB usage here, or you can even, I think on device manager, the usage of that. The banks, I have gone to train at the banks, or I've worked as a contractor for one of the banks. What you do is this is usually deactivated. USB slots for users is usually deactivated. Why do you think it's deactivated? What might be the reason for that? For security, GT wants to add something there.
Oh, I wanted to say to prevent.
GT, because okay, it's Tabani. Yeah.
Yeah, to prevent, maybe if you want to insert a USB and copy data from the company, or coming with a USB, installing programs that are not allowed to be used in the company's laptop. Yeah, some sorts like that.
100%. All right. That's what we use it for. We just don't want users plugging in these USB that they picked from outside. We have an attack called where the attacker can drop in a USB at the gate of the company, and it's called a USB drop, if I'm not mistaken. And then someone else picks up that, and then where do they go to test this USB? They usually want to plug it in with the company premises, in company systems. So we deactivate that for those specific reasons. All right, beep and alarm, and then power. And then here on date and time, you just want to set your date and time for the PC. This is where you can go to. And then security. This is our favorite part when it comes to our visualization. We went to this part to enable the visualization by default. On all of your newer PCs, those that are using new PCs, you didn't have to go to visualization I didn't have to go to BIOS to activate this. So on the newer PC, this is active by default. All right. Okay. Where else? Anti-theft, secure boot. So these are the other features that you need just for you to kind of secure your system. Password, you don't want anyone to just easily gain access to this, because if there's no password, then you activated any of these or you configured anyone who would manage to boot into this, they can also change this to whatever they want to do. But if you add that password, they will need that password for them to kind of like, make some changes there. All right. And then, but there are ways of bypassing that password again. It's not like 100% to say, okay, if there is a password and then someone steals your PC, they can't access or use your PC. They can bypass that. All right, so this is the things that you are going to see. Where is the boot device list? So on that slide there, we were looking at the booting options. So on the startup or on the boot up options, you can create the boot priorities to say, okay, the boot order, boot from this peak, so you can do a boot priority. What just happened now? Did it disconnect me? Oh, okay, I'm not disconnected. All right, so we spoke about that boot priority. So the boot priority or the boot order, you want to specify it, okay, when you switch on your PC, where is it getting the operating system from? Where is it looking for the operating system from? So if, let's say, I think the older PC, for example, let's say you operating system was on your CD, and then when it tries to boot and then it doesn't find anything from the CD, it will give you that error message. You say, okay, what you call it? Can't find the boot drive or something like that. But these days, the newer PC, if it doesn't find anything from the CD, if you specify that the first boot priority is your CD, it will go through that order and say, okay, do I find anything from the CD? If there's nothing, it switches to the next one, USB. If there's nothing, it finds your operating system on a hard drive, then it will boot from that. So it's different from back in the day whereby it will get stuck there on the boot option that you selected if there's nothing. So these days, we can have those order or priorities to say, okay, you can switch from this one to that one to that one. All right. Anything that I missed out here that you want to share, I prefer now going forward, I want everyone to contribute, because I've noticed that we are all in the IT field. So if I miss out anything that you feel like, okay, you do at work, but I didn't count other people, then please, you can share that. All right, so that was the Lenovo BIOS side. And then we also have other BIOS. I don't remember what this one, which vendor is this one, but you do have these three simulation where you can go to and then get this information. All right, it gives you that hands-on practical experience. Okay, fast boot and all of that, advanced UEFI drivers. All right, so we have those options. You can control these options on your you can control these options on your BIOS option, that side. We said you can access that via F2, F11, F12, depending on your system that you are using. All right, and then now, what's the time now? Okay, I don't have much time now. So we're on the disk configuration. We have what we call the partitions. On the partition side, we have different types of partitions, partition style that we can use. You can see there we have the master boot record, which supports up to 4 primary partitions, a disk up to 2 terabytes. So it supports up to 4 primary partitions. And then before we even talk about primary partitions, what is a partition? What can we, before we say this is MPR, this is GUID, what is a partition there? What do you think is a partition? And someone else just to kind of like explain and their own understanding of partitions.
I think I'll take this one, Mr. Moyo. According to my understanding, partitioning is basically dividing, portioning, if I'm gonna put it that way. So
100%.
if you are Yeah, so if you are disk partitioning, I'm assuming that you are allocating portions of space to I don't know to what, but yeah, let me leave it there.
100%. Yeah, partitioning. Even here in the what you call it, in the IT side of things, when you're saying partitioning, it's more like partitioning is more like you're creating different shelves. Let's say maybe you work in a library, right? In a library, what you would do is you will create different shelves for different books. Said, okay, these books are for maybe IT, that book is for geography, that books are for that. So you create shelves for different subjects. So partitioning are like different shelves. So the format is just like how the books are stacked. Like you say, okay, I stack these books on this partition or in this shelf. These books are for this specific subject, and then that book is for that specific subject in that specific shelf. So the partitioning is just like what he said, Remo, there, is that we're just creating different spaces for different things within the hard drive. So let's look at the practical of that, how it looks like to partition this. Let's just quickly look at that before we talk about the other concepts there on the disk partitioning. Let's go back to our demo part there. Let's see how it looks like. Let's see how it looks like. Where is that? So can you see I'm still on the where we found our event viewer Windows logs, right? I want to go to disk management. Okay, let me close this and then we start it again, just in case someone else. I want to start that again. So we went to, is it settings, right? We went to settings. And then where did we go to after that? Not settings, sorry. We went to, is your computer management. We went to computer management. And then we used these other two top parts. Now, when I look at the disk management there, so the partitioning, you can see we have, so we are grouping these, we're creating shelves, we're creating portions of spaces for different programs within one hard drive. So your hard drive can be 1 terabyte. For example, mine is 59.88 GB there. So you can see I have different partitions, I have different spaces. So I have this, which is the EFI system partition. It has like the system files. And then I have this one here, which is for all of your system files. And then you can see healthy boot page file. So partitioning is just like you creating different spaces, different shelves for different things within the hard drive. All right. So this is, you can also, for example, let's say you can split this into different partitions. For example, let's say I can right click here and then I can shrink the volume. For example, let's say we used to do this a lot when we are doing the dual boot. So when you're doing a dual boot on your PC, let's say you want to run Windows 10 and Windows 11 on one machine. Let's say this is a 1 terabyte hard drive. So what I will do is I will shrink it into two parts. For example, I will have like your other half and then the other half for Windows 10 and then the other half for Windows 11. So we would come here and then we shrink the volume. And then we specify, when you click on shrink the volume, you have to specify the amount of space that you want to split it into. So if it's a 1 terabyte, I want half of it for Windows 10, maybe half of it for Windows 11. So we used to create that partitioning directly via here, where you right click that and then you shrink the hard drive to a specific. You can see now on this part, I can specify, enter the amount of space to shrink the MP to. So I can specify the half of the remaining space to say, okay, half is going for my Windows 10, half is going for that. So you can shrink that to have different partitions for different operating system. So we wanted to, on that part, we were separating the files for Windows 10 and have them on a different partition. And then the files for your Windows 11, have them on your different partition. So we'll have those on different parts. So you can shrink directly here, and then you have those different spaces. Right? If you have time, you can play around with this. If you break it, it's fine. You can reinstall this thing. It's a virtual environment anyway. So yeah, you can do it directly here. Okay, where was I? All right, so we were looking at this. the master boot record. So we said now the MBR is one of the partitioning style. And then we know what the partitioning is. It's just kind of like creating different shelves for different files within your hard drive. So we're saying now the MBR master boot record, what you need to know mainly for your CompTIA A+ is that how much does it take? How many partitions can we have for an MBR? So it supports up to 4 primary partitions, right? So it supports up to 4 primary partitions. Primary partitions is just like, so partitioning is like logically separating your hard drive into different parts that you want. So it's just like logically separating your hard drive into different number of parts or containers that you want. So we're saying now the MBR, mostly it takes like 4 primary partitions and then disk up to 2 terabyte. So if your disk is bigger than the 2 terabyte, it might not run that. And then stores boot information in the first sector. So it stores the boot information in the first sector. So what do I mean by store the information in the first boot sector? So you can see there is my first boot sector there. It stores information in my first boot sector. And then we have the GP, what do you call this? We have the GPT, which is GUID partition table. And then on its own now for CompTIA, what you need to know is it supports more partition than when you're comparing it to your MBR. It supports more partitions, and then it can do disk larger than 2 terabyte. So if you want like your disk to be more than that, like it take more than 2 terabytes, so you can use the GPT. So the difference between the two is that the MBR is limited to your 4 primary partitions, and then also disk up to 2 terabyte. But the GPT, it takes up to more than 2 terabyte of hard drives. So that's what you need to remember for your CompTIA. They will be comparing those two. All right, and then we have what we call the primary partition. So the primary partition is used like to store your what you call your OS data. It stores your OS data. Right, and then we have your extended partition. These are logical partitions that maybe you might have created, used for when more than 4 partitions are needed. So you can have your extended partition to store other information within that hard drive. But the primary partition is mainly for your OS data. It stores your OS and storing data that is related to your operating system. All right, and then we have ways that active partition. So the active partition usually marked to boot the operating system. Only one active partition is allowed within the MBR, right? On the MBR styles. All right, and then so those are the major what you call partitioning style that you will use to partition or to create logical spaces on the hard drive. So if you are on MBR, that means you are limited to only 2 terabyte and then limited to 4 partitions. But when you are using the GPT, that means you are more than that space. Your drive can take more than that. All right, and then the drive formats. Now, what are these? And then why do you need to know the drive formats? So we have the drive formats. We have the NTFS. We have your FAT32. We have the EXFAT. So these are mainly for organizing the files and the folders within your hard drive, within your system, right? So the drive formatting, it's all about organizing and storing information on your operating system. So it depends which one we are using. If you're using an NTFS, it takes maximum size up to more than 16 terabyte. So these are different formatting that you apply that can be used within the drives. If we are on NTFS, we're saying it can take more than 16 terabyte, and then it supports security and other compression usages. Okay, and then we have your FAT32, that can be mostly found on your USB drives, older systems, it can take up to 4 GB. So this is what you need to know for your CompTIA A+. These different what you call drive formats, the NTFS, FAT, the storage, how much size can it go for? As we say that the NTFS used mostly for Windows systems, and then it goes up to your 16 terabyte, more than 16 terabyte. And then we have the FAT, mostly found on your USB drives and then your older systems. And then max file can be 4 GB. And then we have FAT. Some of them are found on your Linux machines. All right. So those are the partitioning. We said is logically separating your hard drive into different smaller containers, smaller segments. And then we said we have the different partitioning styles, MBR, GUID. And then we said we have the drive format, which is the drive format, your NTFS, which is just a way of organizing files within your system. It has different ways of organizing those files within your PC. All right. And then we have these now, the repair installations. We have repair installation. Anyone wants to add or just touch on this slide? Anyone who has, I'm sure if you're a technician, Muzi has worked already. He said he works as a technician. On this part, on recovery partition, what are these used for, the recovery partitions? Anyone who just want to jump in on this, what you understand, what you know about this recovery partition, or any of these that is showing on the slide there. So, okay, just for the sake of time, I don't see anyone going ahead or volunteering. So on this one, when the repair installation, your system might be corrupted at one point in time. You might see that, okay, it's corrupted. Maybe there are files that are missing from your file, from your system. So you can repair your system. You can repair your system by booting from a specific, like an OS. Let's say you have a Windows 10, and then you can run, you can boot from that Windows 10, and then maybe go select an option to repair. Then you can be able to repair. So what will Windows do? It will go through those files that we have on your operating system, and then it sees, okay, which files have been corrupted, and then you can add those corrupted files. So we can repair your OS by using an operating system. So you can run that, boot from an internal recovery partition, or you can use like the factory reset, or you can repair via a USB or via a DVD drive that is an operating system, where you can quickly repair the missing files from your system.
So, Mr. Moyo,
yeah.
So it like, would you say that it like maybe in a way restores your system back to default settings in a way, like the reset? Because I heard you talk about resetting.
Yeah.
Hence I in a way associated it with restoring your system back to factory settings. Am I correct?
There is a part for resetting, right? But this one now, it's a repair installation. Let's say they are missing files. If they are missing files, what it does is when you choose that option to repair, it will look for those missing files, and then it will add the missing files on your operating system. Let's say maybe, for whatever reason, maybe there's an OS file that got corrupted, and then maybe when you're switching on your PC, you get those, it says it can't boot, or you get like a blue screen. So if you're doing the repair installation via an OS that is on a disk or on a USB, it's just looking for the corrupted files, and then it replaces those. It doesn't really go into like, formatting your PC, and then now you lose all of your drives and all of that. No, they're just repair. So this one, it reinstalls Windows without deleting apps or files on your PC.
Oh, okay. But now let's say you had maybe you had customized your operating systems. Will it retain your operating systems with the configs that you had initially placed, or is it just gonna restore them back to default mode? What?
So this one now, it doesn't affect your system settings. It's only looking for the missing OS files. So it only brings that. It's ideal for fixing system issues. So while preserving your data remains, your settings that you've applied, it remains. It's only looking for the corrupted files within your OS. So it won't mess up, like let's say you have your preferences that you have changed, all of these nice things that you have added on your PC, your data and all of that. No, it won't mess up that.
And again, it depends on the time and the date.
So,
yeah, go ahead. So there is Muzi, and then there was someone else who want to contribute to the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm saying, Guti, it depends on the time and the date. Because in recovery, if you do recovery, let's say you get a blue screen in it, and then you go to a repair file, and then you go to what's that other option? It will give you a date, like Guti, when do you want to recover your files? So you'll get a date, and then you'll be able to recover your files in a certain date, in a certain time. So it doesn't mean good all your files will be missed.
All right. So yeah, thank you, Muzi, for contributing to that. Right. So I think Muzi, we're now talking about two things. So there is the restore point. I think Muzi is referring to the restore point. So if the restore point, it will keep the. Let me see. Let's see that. So when you have, let's say you have like a restore point somewhere that you have for your PC to say, okay, if it gets corrupted and then you want to quickly restore the system setting, restore the system to how it was, right? So you can revert back to how it was by using the restore point, but you need to create one. Let's say like what Muzi said there, if let's say I restored it on Thursday, or let's say last week, Monday, then it will revert back to how it was on a Monday. Right, so that's the restore point where you can repair via the restore point that exists. Like maybe you have a restore point somewhere, you can use that restore point so that the system can be able to revert back, especially like let's say it's drivers that have messed up your PC. Now you're having issues on your PC. You want to roll back to how the system was. It will pick up that point, how the system looked as now it was. Again, as Muzi said, that it will have to go to that last restore point. If it was made on last week, Thursday, and then you made some changes after that, then right? Okay, so it might. So the one that I was talking about, right, is the where you plugging in your USB or your DVD drive where it has an operating system in it. There are files that are corrupted on your PC. So it's just going through your system, looking for those corrupted files. Then it's just adding the files that are missing. So that option is ideal for those situations whereby you can see it, okay, there's something that is missing on my PC. Maybe it's caused by a missing file on the OS. Then I can do that option. So that would be my go-to Remo there, the repair installation, whereby I'm just trying to pick up any missing files from my system. And then what Muzi said is also important, whereby you have this on site somewhere where you want to restore to your system to the previous state. But if you have like the older one that you did 3 months ago, that means you're restoring to 3 months ago. All right. Where is my slide? Anyone wants to contribute? There was someone else who wanted to add on that. There was Muzi and there was someone else. There was Duduzi, and then there was someone else wanted to say. I'm not sure. Okay, I don't want to move ahead while it's okay. There's no hand that is up. Okay, that means maybe what you wanted to contribute, Muzi ended up adding that. All right, going back to my slide. All right, so we have those recovery partitions. So recovery partition, that would be like a hidden area on your hard drive, right? It contains tools to repair or reset your Windows. This one usually comes with your, like when they say it comes like with your OEM, like your manufacturer will add that to your partition files where you can recover the systems. Let's say maybe there are hidden drives on your PC or something missing on your PC. And then what else do I have there? Refresh. And then, okay, coming back to what Remo was asking about, the reset, all right? So maybe I mixed there the reset with the repairs and then the recovery point. So coming to the reset, so the reset, what it does is reinstalls Windows and gives you two options, right? So it reinstall Windows, it gives you two options. You have an option, Remo, to keep my files. So you can choose the option to say, okay, keep my files, remove app settings, retain files, right? So you can remove apps and settings and then it will return your files. We have that option when you're doing a reset option. It will give you those two options. And then the other option would be remove everything. You have those options. You usually get this. Let me see if I can have that screen showing the screen somewhere. I think I do have a screen that you usually get. You usually get these, right? So you usually get these where you, so we're saying if you are choosing the reset option, it means that now you have, it will give you those two options to say, what do you want to do with this reset? The first one is, I want to retain my files, but if you choose that, it will remove all the apps and the settings, the preferences that you've applied on the PC. And then we have the second option of resetting, which is remove everything. Full reset, like a fresh start, like restart this PC to the default settings, how it was when from the box, something like that. So yeah, Remo, that is the, I think the one, I mixed the two things there, the two words, the reset and the repair. Where was I? Yes, so those are, yes, you need to know these for your A+, not only for your A+, just for you to, when you're fixing your PC or working on your PC, you don't want to end up wiping all of your data, or you don't want to end up, right, without having a backup or somewhere, and then the client will start asking you about all of these. So back in the day, when we were interns, the kits that they used to give us as an intern, you would get like an external hard drive, you get like the tools box with all the tools that you need as a technician. And then before you start working on any PC, you need to do some backup, right? You just quickly backup that, and then you don't want to mess up that. But now we don't even really have to do that. Like, we have everything on our cloud side. And then if I mess up something, if something happens, if I mess up your PC now, I can be able to retrieve or just access your OneDrive and then be able to get those, all of that. These days, if you're an intern, we don't even give you that external hard drive. You just maybe get your tools, and then the rest there's no external hard drive. It's just your tools that you can use for that. Okay, I think, let me see. All right, I think installation and upgrade. So we have looked at this today, the boot methods, this configuration, repair installations, options that we have just to quickly repair your PC so that it can go back to the state it was, or it goes back to the state where it functions again. All right, I think a lab, I've run a lab. Okay, the lab, we have done this lab already. On your site, the first thing that we did, I asked you to install a Windows 10 on a virtual environment. So we have gone through that part of installing Windows 10. We know how to install an operating system. And then I've also shared a Linux with you. There will be classes for Linux where we look at the commands of Linux. So just make sure that you have installed Linux on your machine. I've shared the OS of Linux with you guys. So there's an image that I shared on those resources. Make sure that you install that. There will be a day where we go through the commands of Linux, how to create users on a Linux machine, and then how to copy, like what we did with the Windows commands there. The same thing with the. All right. It's past there. Okay, we're going to the office tomorrow morning. Anything that you are missed there, or any contributions? So this is what I want with our classes. We are all technicians. We are new. There are some that have been in the field for some time. There are new people in the field. In our classes, let's collaborate. Let's share information. If I'm missing something, if I'm slacking on something, add your contributions there, 100%, so that we can all benefit from this. All right, anything that I missed that you wish, that you think it would be useful for other technicians before I wrap up this? Where's Mtuduzi? Where's Dremo? Anything that you want to contribute that you feel like it will be useful for other technicians to look out for?
Nothing so far. So, can we have a little bit of conversation after the meeting? That's what I wanted to say. Sorry.
All right, no problem. Yeah, we can do that. Okay. Any contributions? Any questions? Okay, there's a question there. Let me see. Tabane, I think you want to add something.
No, yeah,
Is
I
it?
just wanted to ask the importance of the BIOS version on the laptop. Like, what's yeah, why is it important to have the latest BIOS version installed on on a computer?
Um, just a quick one from the top of my head there. I think the BIOS version will be mostly when the applications, or just for security reasons, also you want to have the current version within the market. And some of the older BIOS version right now, if let's say you want to run or you want to do certain things on your PC, they might restrict you from doing certain things. You can be restricted because you're using an older BIOS. It might restrict you from running other
Just to add on that, sister,
reasons every time on your
the BIOS are important, right? So if you are running an operating system in your machine, right? So there are certain applications that if you try to install or if you try to run an application, they want you to update and operate a BIOS system, right? So it means that your BIOS system is too old for you to run the certain application on a certain Windows. When I'm saying a certain Windows, I'm saying in a certain operating system. Like if you're trying to run like certain application on a Windows 7, it will tell you that your BIOS is too old. So you need to update your BIOS before you run a certain application. So the BIOS, I think, is the main core of your operating system, if I'm not mistaken, Mr. Moyo.
100%, yeah. Like your hardware needs that BIOS. BIOS is more like an instruction to that computer that tells that, okay, this is a computer, it does 1, 2, 3. So other applications that you run, as you say, that they might need that latest BIOS so that they can be able to run. And then also in IT in general, when you're using any, you need to always be using something that the latest things out there. Because you might find that, okay, the other older version or older system, it might have vulnerabilities that have been discovered out there. But if you're still on that, you find that you might be exposed. So most of the time, I just always need to make sure that we have something that is updated, up to date, right? So that you are protected, your network is protected. All right, you see, this is how I want the classes to be, right? We contribute. All right. Yeah, Raymond, go ahead. If I don't have the answer to you, we are 10 of us or 20 of us, 17 of us, 100%. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no. Yeah. Whoever has an answer will answer. I'm not sure if I understood her question quite correctly. She asked why is it important to update BIOS on your PC? Like, why is it important to have the current BIOS version running on your operating system?
Yeah.
So I don't think, I might be wrong. I stand to be corrected, but I don't think it was answered. That question was answered. Like, why? Why is it important to run the current BIOS version? What's the difference between someone that's running the current one versus someone that's running the old version? Without explaining,
So
maybe. Oh, okay.
Let me not. Sorry, Mr. Moyo. Let me not
100%. Go
get
ahead, man.
yeah. You know what's happening? It's an operating system, right? So you have AMA Windows updates, right? AMA Windows updates require AMA BIOS updates, right? There are certain applications, there are certain systems, and then there are certain files that require certain files from BIOS. BIOS, they are the ones that build your machine, like your computer, your PC. Before you install Windows, those are your important stuff, right? And then let's say Guti, your question Guti, what's the importance of that? Ne? Your importance of that, Guti, you can't install a certain like application or a certain software or a certain Windows without a certain update on your BIOS, right? Remember your BIOS. Those are the ones that depend on your, I can say your RAM, your CPU, your hard drive. Those are the ones that depend you. Oguti, if I want to install something, ikala kuma BIOS. Oh, all right. I do have certain hard drive. I do have certain RAM. I do have certain something. You can install that thing. So the most important thing, Oguti, ama BIOS, they'll have to contribute to that. Remember, if I'm sure there are certain guys who are trying to install Windows 11, but Windows 11 doesn't allow to install Windows 11 because of certain BIOS. Because the BIOS have already checked your system.
About what?
Guti. I'm not sure which we're answering or.
Because it's
Yeah,
not
no,
the first
I'm
because
still not
last time
answering.
the security was saying people
Like
other
who's
TNet
Are you
are
sure? No,
complaining about
I don't
this.
know.
So it's not the first
Who's-
time
which one is this one?
where
Mr.
we
Moyo,
can say maybe
please,
we can go
can't
and
we mute
apologize.
the
Maybe they will
let me
switch.
just see who's that one. They like who is
which one
this?
is this one?
Okay,
Yeah.
sorted.
So
All right, sorry
remember
about that.
your BIOS. Ama BIOS wako depending on your system.
Yeah.
Like ukuthi urana ngama RAM angakanani or you running nge CPU engakanani urana nge RAM engakanani. Before we get into OS, your operating system, if you go into your operating system, the operating system will tell you, no man, remember this thing, they are communicating. It's like we are human beings. They are communicating, right? And then it will tell Guti BIOS, no man, whenever you want Windows 11, and then BIOS, it will tell CPU, motherboard. No man, motherboard, whenever you are missing CPU, a certain size, you are missing hard drive, a certain size, you are missing RAM, a certain size. So unfortunately, you can't get a certain application in that. Yasuga is a good BIOS. My so good BIOS, OS. OS, unfortunately, you can't receive that thing.
Guys, Mdu, hurry. Let's give it to Mr. Moyo. Mr. Moyo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just to summarize what you said, that's 100% what he's saying. He's talking about compatibility.
Yeah,
if you listen to him, he's talking about compatibility, right? So this BIOS sometimes, some BIOS, the older BIOS can't support the newer CPUs. Like if you have like the newer CPUs and the older BIOS, you find that the newer CPUs, the newer RAM and storage devices, they have a problem. So compatibility can be an issue with the BIOS. So the reason why you will want to update your BIOS is because now let's say maybe you've upgraded your system or something, like you need that system to be able to run these new CPUs. So it's compatibility. Number one that you were saying is compatibility purposes. Other BIOSes communicate with the new CPUs or the operating system. So that's number one. Number two is security. So patches like your firmware level vulnerabilities, they can come in from the BIOS side of things. So we need to update the BIOS to the latest one. Sometimes other things can be stability and performance of that particular BIOS.
Mr. Moore.
Oh, and bugs.
For you to upgrade, for you to upgrade your BIOS, it's for you to recognize no, I have certain systems and then they are compatible to use that certain system. You understand?
And then
remember your BIOS is
was it Windows 11 that some computers
Windows, your BIOS is updated Windows 11, and then when your system you upgrade it to Windows 10. But when your BIOS doesn't know your system doesn't know you've already upgraded to Windows 11. Remember, your BIOS is supposed to tell your system, no, I've upgraded to Windows 11. I'm talking about coding. I'm not sure now again.
Yeah, like I think just to emphasize, to shorten it is the compatibility part of it. I want to upgrade my BIOS so that it can be able to communicate with the newer, latest systems, like for example, your CPUs, your RAM. And then sometimes I'm updating because, like he made an example of Windows 11 there. Windows 11, it can't run on other systems because the older BIOS, it doesn't meet the requirements for features like the newer features that the Windows 11 require. So for example, one of the major features that Windows 11 require would be, what you call this? The TPM, Trusted Platform Module. And then those,
yes.
there are certain features. If your BIOS is still old, then those features won't be able to run on that BIOS. So you will be forced now to update that to the latest BIOS so that the newer features can be able to run on that particular PC. So in short, I think to wrap it up is the compatibility part of it, the security part of it, the performance, just like you can't be on the older one, whilst we have like the newer features, it will struggle. It won't be able to run. Doesn't, explain or answer the question. I see a thumbs up there from, is it, I'll call it GT because on my side I only see GT there. Is it Tabani there? Yeah, I see a thumbs up. Remo, if you didn't get this one, we'll get someone else from the group to break it down also. Remo, you can go ahead, yeah? You wanted to say something?
You remember I had an issue with my BIOS, in particular when it comes to switching on virtualization.
Yeah.
You remember? Yes. So what I noticed.
Yeah.
What I noticed, like I noticed that what I needed to switch on, it was virtualization and also my Hyper-V.
Hyper-V,
yeah. Hyper-V, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll answer that, Mr. Moya. I know where it's going. Ne?
I didn't get that.
I'll answer you. I know where you're going, by the way.
I'm tired, guys. Okay, where am I going?
So, okay, no, Remo, what you're saying is, it's what Muzi explained. It's what Muzi explained, the features. So the virtualization is one of the features that needs your certain, the current BIOS. You find that some of the older BIOS, right, they won't allow you to run, let's say, your virtualization and all of that. So you might be forced now to update it so that you can run these newer features. We spoke about the TPM and then the virtualization and all these other new features. If your BIOS is old, then you will be forced to update that because you're not running the newer features. Yeah.
Let me add on that, Raymond. Virtualization is like a software, right? You're already having a Windows running in your own like personal computer PC. You are installing a software. A software requires certain requirements. You understand? Those certain requirements, they'll go back again to your operating system. Your operating system will go back again to your BIOS. Your BIOS will go back again to check if you have the required RAM and documents to run that visualization. Visualization, it doesn't go into any PC. You understand? If you go visualization, it's like it's a normal PC, but you open it under a software. You are using a software under a software. You are using a PC
get that,
under
bro. I get that, dude.
Yeah, but it means your requirements, your RAM, your hard driver, your what they are too low. Like you can't argue about visualization on this conversation we are talking about. So it means you need to upgrade somewhere, someday. Do you understand? So like something like that. Okay, it's fine. I did ask Kuluman or Mr. Moyo. Let me add you on the call, and then after the call, I think we'll be 3, ne?
After school, then.
Besides I think I need to eat something secret. All
right, Sharp. So I just want to release other people because it's in the during the week, people. It's IT guys. You get these conversations, right? the environment that I'm trying to create or I'm trying to have here is for all of us. We're coming from different environments. We've been exposed to different technology. We just need all that energy. We just need all that knowledge that we've acquired in different companies so that we can all benefit from you. We can't always try to learn from me, or it's not enough. Like, as we have these engaging classes whereby we all contribute, at the end of the day, we all benefit out of that. We agree on some things sometimes we don't agree at all. It's IT, man. I've been in the space to know that, yes, it happens. It happens, yes. All right, so I just want to release other guys. If there are no questions, right, I just want to say, guys, thank you so much for joining. We're going to have another class. I know now we no longer have like a scheduled class anymore, like what we have there, where we have the dates for classes. Going forward, what we're going to be having, I think we no Saturday classes anymore. I think I'll just do Thursday because I couldn't get other guys. People want to get paid. So if you call someone and say, okay, please come run my class on Saturday, they just want to get paid. So we no longer having the Saturday classes. We'll only run these on Thursdays evening. And then we want to have conversations like this where we agree, where we don't agree, but we just want to have a platform where we get together, we create, we share information, and then, yeah, man, we see where we go with the learning part. All right, thank you. What you call, meeting is adjourned. Let's see, stop my recording, and then we're done with that.